Good morning, everyone. Sorry I can't be there. For the paper, I chose to focus on the co-occurrence of oppositional defiant disorder and offending among African American male youth in Chicago. I chose this topic given the overrepresentation of African American male youth involvement in violence, both among victims and offenders. And while these patterns are not new, the plans put forth to curb the violence do not include really addressing mental health disorders. So this is one area that seems to be underutilized target for intervention. ODD is defined as a recurrent pattern of negativistic, defiant, disobedient, and hostile behavior toward authority figures. It reflected in behaviors such as frequent temper tantrums, arguing, defiance, non-compliance, externalizing blame, vindictiveness, among other problem behaviors. While a range of factors has been implicated in the development of ODD, no one factor has been identified as the cause. Rather, there are several theories out there that have been put forth to explain the development of the disorder. Four such theories are disrupted parenting, predisposing child characteristics, predisposing parent characteristics, and disruptive social ecology. So the first, disrupted parenting, is characterized by inconsistent, overreactive, sometimes lax, often unpredictable disciplinary methods. The second, predisposing child characteristics, can include mostly psychiatric disorders or emotional behavioral dysregulation. Three are predisposing parent characteristics. These could also include psychiatric disorders as well as substance use disorder, smoking, other negative behaviors that the parent has adopted. And finally, disruptive social ecology. So that includes poverty, crime-ridden neighborhoods, also neighborhoods with low social cohesion would be some of the key examples there. And some of the protective factors that counteract these are mostly lie within the parent-family network and the social ecology. So for parent-family, strong relationships, warmth, structure, those are key protective factors for ODD. And within the social ecology, organized neighborhoods, high social cohesion, involvement in community and religious activities as well would be key protective factors. So ODD is one of the most commonly diagnosed behavioral disorders among youth. Yet African American youth are diagnosed at comparably lower rates than their white counterparts. Meanwhile, African American youths are disproportionately exposed to risk factors associated with ODD. And this was really the important discovery during my research and serves as the justification for the proposed approach, which I'll get to later. Just as an example, more than 90% of youth at Cook County Juvenile Detention Center in Chicago have a pre-existing undiagnosed psychiatric disorder, and more than 90% of them have never been diagnosed, and they're African American male youth. So key approaches in addressing ODD that have garnered the most success tend to be school-based and include classroom behavior management, enhancing child social skills, and multimodal strategies involving parents. One example of a program, which is a universal intervention, is PATHS, which we talked about earlier this semester. That's promoting alternative thinking strategies. So that's a very well-established program that has been shown to address a lot of the risk factors associated with, or the behaviors rather, associated with ODD. And so there are a lot of great universal targeted, universal selected indicated interventions for ODD, but none of them really out there are expressly designed to address the mental illness aspect of the disorder. And so the proposed approach I have aims to fill this gap. The first part is the establishment and reinforcement of mental health care within community health centers. So community health centers have long served underserved minority populations, and they're the primary site for health care among low-income African American families. I really propose to capitalize on this fact and establish and reinforce mental health care within CHCs so that Children and families are screened early on for any and all mental illness. This intervention would address both the predisposing child and parent characteristics associated with ODD at a very early stage. Additionally, social services within the CHC would be there to assess fitness of a parent to raise a child, thereby addressing the other major risk factor I mentioned, disrupted parenting. The second part of the proposed approach is a selected intervention. It's the establishment of school-based community health centers. These centers are abundant nationwide. They're 2 million, and mental health counseling is the leading cause for visits by students. Providing mental health services in schools makes it far easier for students to access care, and those youth identified as at risk would automatically be scheduled for regular appointments with a therapist throughout the school day. Additional interventions would include classroom behavior modification, referral to a physician for additional help or psychiatric medications, and formal special educational services. Finally, I propose to establish community health center-based high schools. These are schools based within a community health center. This is modeled off of the Common Square Academy Charter High School at the Common Square Community Health Center near Boston, Massachusetts. The idea behind this targeted intervention is that by being situated in a health center, students are exposed to more professionals who can both directly and indirectly influence their decision-making processes and their behaviors, while simultaneously students have greater access to mental health and social services. Additionally, because enrollment would be reserved for those youth at highest risk for ODD, classroom size is reduced and teacher attention is increased, thereby improving each student's engagement in their learning and allowing for more targeted intervention. And of course, students would have positive mentors and opportunities to intern, thus also providing protective factors for the social ecology aspect of the disorder. So the key measures of success for the proposed program are the following: increased enrollment and use of health services at CHCs, decreased dropout, absentee, and detention rates in schools, decreased juvenile arrests, and increased high school graduation and employment rates for African American male youth. And feedback from youth and families on mental health services would also be collected and examined for ongoing and continuous improvement. So I think this program is a very good start to addressing the mental health illness affecting African American male youth, both in Chicago and nationally, and would create a broader safety net to make sure that all youth and families are captured early on. So thank you so much. Bye.